Hello, welcome back. I have two more original Nintendo DS games to show off today. One of them is on my top 10 list, and the other one I've been thinking about doing something with for a while, but never really knew what format to talk about it in, but I found a way to talk about it. So, more on that later. Let us go to our vertical view. Now, this first game that we're about to look at came out at the extreme tail end of the original DS's life. This game we're about to look at came out, at least in North America and Europe, in January 2011. January 2011. Can I tell you what comes out 2 months later? The 3DS. So yeah, this is extreme end-of-life software for the original DS. And so as a result, sales never really could be expected to be that good. This is a game that was famous for being extremely well reviewed, but it sold terribly purely because of its proximity to the release of the successor system, the 3DS, which is a crime because this game is fantastic. But luckily, it has recently received a remastered version on Steam, so there is justice in the world. Let me start this up. This is from Capcom, specifically from the dude who brought you the Phoenix Wright games. Hang on, I've got his name written down here. The director of this game is Shu Takumi, who is a long-time Capcom employee who has worked on lots and lots of well-known games from Capcom's past. Primarily Dino Crisis and Phoenix Wright. So this is from him. Not to say that there weren't dozens of other people working on this game, but he was the lead director, so he gets top billing. So yeah, this is a game that came out at the extreme end of the DS's life, and just as a result, just got completely ignored, even though it got really good, like, reviews, top to bottom. It's like, man. Let's start. So, Ghost Trick Phantom Detective. This is an interesting little narrative puzzle game, I guess? Action puzzle game. Let's boost this up. Good music. My control's not working? Hang on a sec, let me just... Oh, it's because I've lost focus on the window, that's why. Welcome to the ghost world, the land of the dead. Oh, I should, again, like I normally do, clarify. I do have my original copy still. The original DS copy, at least until recently, was quite expensive if you wanted to buy one on eBay, but I've checked recently and the prices have crashed a little bit because of the recent Steam re-release, so if you want to pick up an original DS copy, now's a great time. Do you see that bright white spot nearby? That's a core. This looks like a railway crossing gate to me. So yeah, touch your soul. So if you tap on the touch screen, you bring out this little line of blue energy. With your finger still on it or stylus, slide your soul across to connect with the core. Congratulations, you have officially possessed this railway gate. Crossing gate. Great, now I'm a crossing gate. Time will start to flow normally again. That will be your chance. When the man pulls the trigger, the woman dies, right? So before that happens, you have to use your powers to stop it. I still don't know what you're talking about. Heh heh. Ominous? You'll see, you'll see. Time will start to flow again. Again, really good music in this game. The woman's fate has changed, albeit just a little. She still kinda has a gun pointed at her. Starting to figure out how to use your powers. So I enter the ghost world with Ghost, possess an object, and then perform a trick with it, eh? Now you're getting it. Let's move to the next step. Try possessing a different core. Alright. Can I reach that one? Nope. It's guitar. I would have preferred that giant wrecking ball. That would solve the problem real quick. Can't reach cores that are too far away. That's got to be some of the slowest running away I've ever seen. Guess all there is me. Time to be picky. I've got a woman to save. If I can manipulate objects, I should be able to manipulate my own corpse. Possess your own corpse. Nothing happened. Whoops. Okay, yeah. Pressing up on the D-pad brings up the list of previous dialogue. Okay. You can only manipulate non-living things. corpses, even if they aren't alive anymore, aren't really just ordinary things. Yeah, it's kind of shitty. Bad explanation game. I like this game a lot, but that's a bad explanation. Slide the screen? What? I love how he's like telling him like DS controls and he's just like super confused by it. It's like, what screen? Touch the screen and slide it in any direction. Yep. So that's how you look around the environment. My eyesight and your future. In the end, it looked like her fate remains unchanged. So what good are these ghost tricks of mine? But just as I was thinking this... The lamp started talking to me. What? Yeah, this game's neat. It's super weird and neat and interesting, and it's got like a good like puzzle mechanic to it. And the presentation is really striking. So all of the backgrounds are well, not sprites, but they're 2D art backgrounds, and then almost everything in the foreground is a 3D object. A very low res, low detail 3D object, but it's got the very stylized 3D object. So my body right there is a 3D object, and all the moving people are 3D objects. But again, they're very stylized, using very bright colors, and it just has this incredibly like eye-popping style to it. It looks great, this game. It's a little too early for you to be so stiff and cold, I'd say. Ha ha ha. The dead don't have voices, you see. It's more like my thoughts were being beamed directly into your mind. That's another little trick ghosts can do. My ghost tricks didn't do much good. She still ended up just as dead as before. That's true, for now. For now? I still have more to teach you about the powers of the dead, your ghost tricks. Who exactly are you, anyway? Before I answer that, I think we should save this young lady. Isn't it a shame to see such a pretty young woman lying here like a discarded piece of trash? Time for more ghost lessons. I'll have you possess me. I guess I'll take the desk lamp up on his invitation anyway. anything else to lose at this point. That thought bubble you just touched, those are your thoughts. What you're saying to yourself in your head. My thoughts, eh? So the dead don't have voices. And what we think is communicated directly to one another. So these thought bubbles are sort of a stand-in. I think I'm starting to get it. Yeah, you can sometimes tap the little thought bubbles that appear on screen to get a little bit of more extra dialogue, maybe some extra clues to what you're supposed to be doing or how to do something. You don't have to tap them, but if you want a little bit more story, they're neat. Yeah, important clues. Press the ghost button. Can't reach him, so we can reach the door though. And you see, whenever we possess an object, below it, where it's on the top screen, below its name, you see those 4 lines, that dash, 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 dash. It'll list there whether or not we can actually do something with that object. So you see, we've taken possession of this folding cot and it's got an action, unfold. And this guy's about to tell me what I just told you. The information is there for you to check out whenever you need it. So, who's this we? So let's unfold that bed. And then from this bed we can go to the lamp. Something's different about her corpse. My corpse and her corpse. There's definitely something different about the two. There's something emanating from my corpse. That's because you're special. Uh-huh. What's that supposed to mean? Not everybody who dies gets special powers, you know. So those waves are because of my powers of the dead, eh? A new power. Possess objects and manipulate them. Now what do you suppose will happen if you possess a corpse? Already tried to possess my own and nothing happened. You don't have the ability to manipulate. You don't have the ability to manipulate a corpse. However, there is something else you can do. Alright. Freeze time. So yeah. And then transfer to this body. Oh no, we've entered the blood vortex. She's unconscious. Conscious? But she's dead! That is a pretty insane concept, actually. Can ghosts be unconscious? When I came to, I was already dead. While she's resting, we can save her life. you can go back to the past to a time 4 minutes before that person's death. Why specifically 4 minutes? Who knows? There's a catch. It only works on new corpses, corpses that have been dead for less than 1 day. And she's still well within that limit. You might want to give it a try before it's too late. This is crazy. None of it makes any sense. We're talking about the powers of the dead here. It doesn't have to make sense. To the time 4 minutes before this woman was murdered. Heh heh. Always a little bit disconcerting when somebody laughs like that. Makes me not want to trust them. So here we go. It's rewind time. "7:01 p.m. I like that. That's a really silly touch. There's a hitman with a golden shotgun. We had to rub out all of the last traces of Temsik left in this country. Temsik? I just do what I'm told. As long as that bad boy wrecking ball stays right up there where it belongs. Hint, hint to the player. They call me nearsighted Jigo, but I never let my prey get away. Okay, so she just died again. That was pretty much everything we did. And there you have it, the last 4 minutes of her life. That was a little bit less than 4 minutes. Possess and manipulate, eh? Ghost and then trick. And then you can rewind these 4 minutes as many times as you like, too. Alright. Oh, I need to get up there. So this is 4 minutes ago, eh? What am I doing way down here? That's just how it works. Her corpse was your gateway into the past, after all. So naturally, your starting point is where her corpse was. Hop in. Alright. Transfer. You'll move around. Get up to her as fast as you can. Time is passing. The last seconds of her life are counting down. I love the fact that he's just accepted the term screen now, even though that technically makes no sense in his position. Like, from his perspective, is he looking at a screen? It's super strange when games do that. They just start talking to, you know, some character will start tutorializing to the main character of a game and then start talking about controls like buttons and screens and shit, and it's just super weird. The Metal Gear Solid games do that as well, and it's super bizarre. Up you go. Okay. To the dummy. To the tire. Roll the tire. Transfer from the dummy to the fridge. Open the fridge. Blender falls out. Okay. Close the fridge again. Transfer to the blender. Not yet. First we transfer to the fan. Okay, transfer to the flag. And then the blender. The fan will blow the line of the flag into the blender. You turn the blender on, the blender will wind up the flag, but before it goes, transfer to the flag. So you go up. Transfer from the flag to the bike. Move here. Okay. And all the actions you did before in the last loop still happen. So it's not like you have to do everything over again. Now's your chance to change your fate. Okay. Pedal. Ring. Ring the bell. Yeah, I'd be starting to get freaked out too if I were this guy. Nearsighted Jigo never misses, as long as the target is within point-blank range. Good sense of humour. Very good sense of humour. And in that split second, hope was born. Why is there a bridge in a junkyard? Okay, transfer down to the pedals. Pedal the bike. Touch the thought bubble. To get some extra dialogue. Okay, so if you ever want to, if you think you've messed something up, or you don't think you've done the correct things in the correct order, you can restart the time loop by tapping that little egg timer icon. You might learn a thing or two when time runs out too. There might be things to learn from failure. Okay. Rotate the crane. She's staying quiet. Okay, we've got a ladder. Extend the ladder. From there we can transfer all the way up to the claw holding the wrecking ball. And then release. Looks like the danger, quotation, Mr. Danger, in fact, rolled away somewhere. I appreciate the Looney Tunes animation of the ball rolling away and his body just stuck to the side of it. Okay, that was the tutorial. Lost my life tonight and saved somebody else's. When I came back to the present, it was raining. I had saved the life of this stranger, now sitting forlornly in the rain, even as the story of my life on this planet comes to an end. A stranger? That word strikes a chord, and a terrible truth begins to dawn on me. I can't recall a thing. Who am I? What is this place? And most important of all, why was I killed? All right. Call me Ray, as in ray of light in the darkness. That is to disappear. When the sun rises in the morning, I'm afraid you're going to cease to exist. Look at me, I'm a desk lamp. Okay. First step, you start with her. She's the key to everything tonight. I also really like the colour scheme between the two. So he's wearing an entirely red suit and he's got bright blonde hair. She's got a big yellow coat on and her hair is bright red. So it's kind of a like an inversion of the colour scheme there between the two characters. Touch to view a record of what you've learned, and be sure to check it out now and again. Memories aren't always the most reliable things, after all. New info. Alright, now we've got to move around. Shimmy, pedal. So I think it's shimmy we've got to do. Ah, how chivalrous of you. Open the umbrella. I like how she said, oh, it started raining all by itself, as if rain doesn't just happen all by itself. Like, come on. Kitty cat. Alright, so we can transfer from the umbrella to the piece of paper that she's holding. Where this telephone call is coming from. Before you helped her avert her fate, didn't a telephone call come in at around this time too? Flashback. This game's just got so much style. It's great. What a great looking game. That telephone call. At this very moment, on the other end of this telephone line, is the culprit who ordered your murder. I recommend you possess that telephone. And then I saw him, right there on the other end of the line. I saw the face of the man who ordered me dead. The dead can jump from point A to point B by moving over the phone lines. I've already used up most of my remaining strength just to get here tonight. But I had to come to ask for your help. Many mysterious things will happen in this town tonight. I'm trusting in you to get to the bottom of them and to find out the truth. You're the only one who can do it. I want you to use your powers of the dead to find this truth. Tomorrow morning, I cease to exist. That doesn't give me a whole lot of time. I need to pursue my own mystery. Find out the truth about myself. That's more than enough. The two are one and the same. Ooh, mysterious. This desk lamp knows a whole lot more than he's telling me. It's a very, it's a very unhinged sentence to say. Got a new phone number. SYS 1729. Alright, Chapter 2. I have to find the answers before the sun comes up. Why was I killed? And what exactly is going to happen in this town tonight? Yeah, sure. Yes. 7:31 p.m. The one who is sure to know the answers to those questions is the man who ordered my murder. At the other end of the phone line is the very man who had me killed. Our meeting. It's all so sudden. I'm not sure I'm really prepared for what's to come. Confound that nearsighted Jigo. His skills are as feeble as his eyesight. It's interesting how so far all of the villains you encounter in this game have got blue skin. Like all of them. These people are assassins. The file that old man has. Maybe it'll give me some information on my redhead. Okay. So we can possess the book he's holding. So we go to our little book. You can read up on everything you've learned so far. All the characters you've met so far. The eyebrowed villain. I like the little animations up top. It's a nice little touch. And you can also learn about different locations you've been to as well. Right. Miss Lynne is her name. Lynne. It's written in a foreign language. I can't read it at all. It's a very complicated room these two are inhabiting right now. Alright, so we can... the lamp, the projector... Operate the projector. The equipment is still malfunctioning, sir. So, either Sissel or Cecil. Now, Sissel is not an existing name, at least I don't think so, but Cecil is. There are people in the world called Cecil. So, I'd like to think that his name is pronounced Cecil, but I might be wrong. It might just be Sissel. Cecil. That must be my name. Pluck the fruit of success. Okay, lamp. A little bit far away. Operate. Freeze time, transfer to the painting. Still trying to iron out the kinks, sir. Operate the control panel. Bring the phone back. It's a miserable state of affairs when I can even be startled by a telephone that doesn't even ring. And it rings. Great. Good timing. I sent one step ahead Tengo to her apartment, sir. That telephone call must be him reporting in. Transfer to the phone. Again, the guy's got blue skin. All the villains in this game have blue skin. It's interesting. If the target got here first, they wouldn't call me one step ahead now, would they? Now they're even getting one step ahead of me. We can discuss my new salary later. Good writing in this game. Very good writing. And now we have our new third destination. You can give him all of nearsighted Jigo's pay. He's dead. Okay. Let's go to Lynne's apartment. Chapter 3, here we go. This will be the last one we do before we move on to the next game. I don't want to play too much of this game. For now. We'll do this chapter and then we'll move on. Which will take us about 10-15 minutes, I reckon. So, the hitman's at her apartment and is waiting for her. There's a couple of other unfortunate little developments waiting for me, it seems. And even unluckier little doggy. This little dog here is perhaps one of the best characters in this game. This is Missile, the Pomeranian. And he is fantastic. The poor brave little warrior. So what do we got? We got a folding umbrella, a door, or this dog's body. Who am I? The dead don't have voices. Their thoughts reach the other person directly. I guess that explains why this dog is talking to me right now. You don't have to understand a dog to understand its thoughts. This is your mistress's apartment, and you are? Presumably the little doggy who died. I'm Missile. Nice to meet you. And I'm one of the best characters in this game. Time to go back to 4 minutes before this little guy's death. Time to save his life. Let's rewind time. The land of 4 minutes before your death. It's nice that this dog considers walking on 2 legs and travelling through time equally, mystifying. Okay, we'll see what unfolded and then we'll see if we can change it in any way. If we watch closely, we ought to be able to get a few leads. Keep your eyes open. This is apparently a Christmas game also, because there is a Christmas tree up in this apartment. So if you're ever looking for a game to play at Christmas, here is a potential Christmas game for you. It's a Pomeranian. Pomeranians bark a lot. Doesn't hear the gunman come in the door because she's listening to music. Wow, look at that! I'm dead! Whenever somebody I don't know comes around, all I want to say to them is, welcome! I can't help it. The headphones. I hate those red things. Okay. Objective 1. Do something about the headphones. Okay, we can do that. Okay. We can possess the umbrella, and that will extend just long enough to knock the headphones, but doesn't knock them hard enough to knock them off the hook into the water. So it might be a case of timing. You notice how when she grabbed the headphones, she almost dropped them? If we were to knock the headphones at the exact moment she almost drops them, that might be enough to knock them into the water. That's the way of the honourable warrior. Get rid of anything that might get in the way. Okay. Let's try this door. Okay, the dog goes over to the thing that is spinning. That lady starts banging on the door. Anything new? Nope, we've got to wait for her to bring something over to us before we can move around. Uh-oh, here we go. Possess the umbrella and wait for our time to attack. Now. Got him. How would you reasonably tell someone that a dog knocked a pair of headphones into a fish tank? How's the dog supposed to have done that? Oh well, doesn't matter. Now we can use the little lady's ears to help us. She can hear things now, which is useful. Okay, so headphones dealt with. Now we've got to deal with her getting caught by the gunman. She's in the mood for donuts. Wait. We can't stop the hitman from coming in, so in that case, we can hide Miss Camilla. Where could a little lady hide in this room? to lead her to a hiding place before the gunman shows up. So typically in each chapter like this, you would spend maybe a time loop or two experimenting and messing around with things, trying to see what you can get to knock into other things before you figure out the final solution. But I've done this a few times, so I already know what you have to do. So we're going to possess the donuts, then possess the cart, move the cart so she can't get the donuts. Move her to the other side of the couch. Okay. Her stopping the star knocks a ball off the Christmas tree, which lands by the door over there by that TV. So now, damn. Let's knock a donut out the bowl over by the ball. Another rat comes along. I like how the rat on the left side of the room is blue and the rat on the right side of the room is pink. It's a weird little detail there. I'm truly embarrassed by my own behaviour. One of the ornaments fell off the tree. I graduated from playing with balls a long time ago. Okay, so jump to the star, and then when this spinning ornament is in the right position, you can jump to it. And then you should be able to jump down to the lamp, go to the door, and then when the time is right, smack the rat, the bauble, and the donut under the sofa. And the rat gets the donut anyway. Which I'm happy about. That rat deserves that donut. He's put up with too much bullshit to not get the donut. Look, you're not dead. Yeah, interesting thing. You're not dead, but your spirit from the past is still here. Fate averted. God, this game's got great music. Okay, so the spirit does disappear. Maybe if you die again. Now a new present is born. I think I'll watch for a while and see what happens. Another phone call. Maybe take the headphones out of the fish tank. Oh, I've got to get to the phone. Oh shit, okay. Back to the ornament. Back to the table. So what would a living and breathing doggy be doing with a core? Try possessing him to see what happens. So the dog remembers. The dog has memories of being dead and travelling through time. Interesting. Roll the donuts over the other side. Get in the phone. Bring the music box with you. Mysterious new character. Oh, she dropped the phone in the fish tank as well. Good stuff. Ooh. Okay, so we're going to end it here. But yeah, this chapter does go on for a little bit longer. I don't seem to remember what a music box is exactly. So save the game and we're going to end this here. This is Ghost Trick Phantom Detective, and it is a wonderful little like puzzle game, like action puzzle game / detective mystery. It's one of those games that just kind of it stretches across multiple genres, so it becomes difficult to try and describe it exactly. But yeah, it's a cool game, and I'm so glad it got a remaster to Steam. If you haven't played this game and you like the look of it, I really recommend it. Like, get the remastered version on Steam. It's, despite the eBay price crash, it's still cheaper than trying to get a secondhand copy on eBay. It's a great little game. It's so good. It deserves sales. It deserves people playing it. It's so good. Anyway, that is it for this game. And let us move on to game number 2. Now, game number 2, as I mentioned before, I've been trying to think of ways to talk about this game in some ways, and it too, in recent years, has received a port to Steam, which is also great. And I think I mentioned this game in very brief passing back on the video that we had a look at Phoenix Wright. Remember how I said that the DS had quite a few visual novel type games that helped to basically bring that entire genre into more of a mainstream appeal to that genre, which up until that point, at least in the West, had been extremely niche, like ultra niche. And there are a handful of quite popular visual novels for the DS. And this is another one of those. So let me boot up the next game. Where are you? Here we go. This is a game that came to America, but did not come to Europe. I had to import a copy of this game, which I did back in the day. Europe technically didn't get this game officially until the Steam release, I think. This music's insane. Yeah, this is 9 hours, 9 persons, 9 doors. Or typically referred to just as 999. Where is it? There it is. But before we talk more about this game, I've completely forgotten. I need to go to the top 10 list and add a top 10 game. That's right. Ghost Trick Phantom Detective is a top 10 game. And it, of course, goes into 4th place. Where am I going? Yeah. Ghost Trick did I spell that right? Phantom Detective. Yeah, I spelled that correctly. Yeah, Ghost Trick Phantom Detective. Number 4 on the top 10 list. So we only have 3 games left to fill out the rest of our top 10 list. And the rest of this list will be in descending order. So the next one will be 3rd place, then 2nd place, then finally 1st place. Up until now, we've been doing them in kind of an eclectic order with no real ordering to how we put them in. But now we are going to go in strictly descending order. So, or I guess ascending order, technically, with how this list is ordered. So, congratulations to Ghost Trick Phantom Detective. In my opinion, the 4th best Nintendo DS game. Anyway. Whoops. Here we go. Back to 9 hours, 9 persons, 9 doors. This game, I think, like I mentioned before, is an import game. And I've just noticed this box art scan in the lower left does not match my box art. I've got my original copy here. Like I said, this is an American copy of the game because I had to import this. Yeah, as you can see, box art on my copy does not match box art in bottom left. I don't know why. It's like, hang on, see if we can very quickly adjust that. Hang on. Were there multiple versions of the box art? If so, that's strange. Hang on. Give me 30 seconds. Okay. Boom. Fixed. Yeah. Didn't think about that at the time. There we go. That is, at least that is the version of the box art that matches my copy. So I think the other box art is better, but whatever. Not an issue. So yeah, this did not originally get a European release. So let me just very quickly close that and close that. This game came out originally in 2009, so a somewhat late but not super late DS game. Like it's, I guess you could say it came out in the DS's late middle age, I guess you could say. So when the DS was basically at the height of its popularity. And yeah, this game is kind of crazy. It's kind of interesting. Let's start a game. So this is a game that has it's a branching path story. Okay. Hang on. Let me just pause the ROM for a sec. This game has a branching path story, and so decisions you make in the game change what path you go on. There's only one good ending. There are lots and lots of bad endings, but there's only one good ending. And so part of the trick in this game is playing it over and over and over again. And every time you finish the game and get an ending, the game will show you what path you took. And so you can actually like kind of map out, based on the decisions you made, what the correct decision should be next time. The game will never show you the full story path tree, not until you've like It only shows you each path that you've found yourself, so it doesn't just show you the answer, but you can deduce based on the paths it shows you after each playthrough. Okay, so this was an incorrect choice, which means at this point here I should have gone the other way, and so you can kind of figure out what ways to go from there. It's really interesting. This game is fiction. All names, characters, and incidents portrayed in this production are fictitious. I should fucking hope so. Let's blow this up. A little bit bigger. This game's kind of got an obsession with the number 9, I should just let you know. A loud noise startled Junpei awake. A loud noise startled Junpei awake and his eyes snapped open. As they adjusted to the light, he realized that he didn't recognize his surroundings. With a crack, Junpei's head connected with something metal. He rolled over and threw out his hand to steady himself, but he found himself groping at empty air. This game's story can be best described as a mystery. His balance lost and his still fuzzy mind struggling to understand what was going on, Junpei tumbled down to the cold grey floor. Ouch, goddammit. That's a good word. Junpei glared around the room, still trying to determine where he'd woken up. The fall had shaken the last cobwebs of sleep from his mind, and finally he understood where he'd fallen from. The top bunk. Oof, that's gotta hurt. That's gotta really hurt. Falling off the top bunk of a bunk bed has got to really suck. A 3-level bunk bed, in fact. Shoulder hurt, his knee hurt, his hip hurt, his entire body hurt, I bet. The whole room was shaking. It was an earthquake, he wondered. It didn't seem likely. It was shaking far too quickly for an earthquake. Then again, Junpei had no idea what it was, if not an earthquake. He tried to tell himself it was important. I like the dual narrative thing here. You've got a third, you've got you've got a narrator on the bottom screen, and then you've got the actual characters and their dialogue on the top screen. I think it's a cool way of setting a scene, telling a story, I think. Then, as suddenly as they had begun, the tremors ceased. A cold silence fell over the room. From somewhere far away, Junpei could hear the sound of metal squeaking. He felt his stomach tighten. There were 1,000 things the sound could have been, but none of the things he could think of were good. On the other side of the room was an identical bed, and a set in the wall between the beds was a slightly dirty iron door. First thing Junpei noticed about the door was the number roughly emblazoned across it. On the surface of the door, in red paint, someone had written 5. Suspicious and still utterly confused, Junpei approached the door slowly. Really good environmental sound effects as well, all the creaking and the moaning from all the stressed metal. Next to the door was an odd-looking device that reminded Junpei of a card reader. It didn't take a genius to figure out that the odd-looking device was keeping the door shut. Junpei knocked hard on the door. On his left wrist was a bracelet, of a sort he'd never seen before. In the centre was a large LCD display. It looked like nothing else, so much as a watch, but it clearly wasn't that. After all, it showed only a single number. 5. The numbers were the same, but he had no idea what that meant, what that might mean. All he knew was that it was strange. And new, and he wanted it off. The other side of the bracelet was solid. No buckle, no clasp, nothing. What was he going to do? Growing more desperate, he began to tug at it. However, a steel ring ran from the face around Junpei's wrist and back into the face. He wouldn't be pulling the bracelet off any time in the near future. Frustration and desperation were beginning to mix as the reality of the situation began to dawn fully on Junpei. So much was happening, and none of it made sense. Junpei felt as though he were about to explode. It was at that moment that he noticed the window. The window was round, rimmed in riveted brass, like a window from an early 20th century ship. Junpei walked slowly towards the window. He could see nothing beyond it but thick, impenetrable darkness. Junpei squinted, trying to see something, anything. It was at that moment. A crack split the glass off the window, and just for a moment Junpei stared at it. Then the window burst and water began to pour into the room. You know what? That is a perfectly understandable reaction. Yeah, I would probably say something similar to that as well. As Junpei screamed and pounded on the door, the water began to rise. It was now ankle deep on the floor and rising quickly towards his knees. Things were not looking good for Junpei. Not good at all. He needed to find a way out, and quickly. Junpei ran a hand across his forehead, brushing the sweat out of his eyes, and looked around the room. Here we go. So this is one of the main... This is one of the main gameplay loops of this game. The escape room. So yeah, I want to say, I could be completely wrong, I could be totally off base right here, but I want to say this game helped popularize the idea of an escape room, the entire concept of an escape room. Because this is pretty much almost the entirety of this game. You get locked into rooms and you have to solve puzzles, usually under a time limit, in order to escape the room. So we go off operations during an escape. During an escape, you can move to different parts of the room by touching the bottom screen. Since many areas require very exact selection, we recommend you use the stylus. Searching during an escape. During an escape, you can touch the background to search anywhere in the room. Areas you can investigate will be highlighted yellow the moment you touch them. Depending on the nature of the location you touch, you might find an item or a hint. Begin searching by touching places on the bottom screen. How to move around. Touch the triangle icon on the bottom screen. Doing so will change the viewing angle of the room and move you to different locations. You can do the same thing by pressing left or right or down on the control pad. Bird's eye view. If you want to know where you are, touch cross on the camera icon on the bottom screen. This will show you where you are and what direction you are facing. Saving during an escape. Pressing start will allow you to save. If you want to quit, we recommend pressing start. Purpose of the escape. The purpose of each escape is to get out of the room. How you do that depends on the room. You'll need to search all throughout the room to discover what you'll need to do. Get out. What you need to do to get out. Search for hints and items that may help you to find a way out. Okay. What is this? There's a thing here. There's a lock on this briefcase. It won't budge. Let's see if there's anything in the keyhole. There's a small keyhole right next to the dial. Door to the stove. Well, it opens easily enough. Sure wish the door would get out of here. Sure wish the door to get out of here was the easy to open. Sure wish the door to get out of here was that easy to open. There we go. Oh, what's this? During an escape, investigating certain parts of the room will allow you to obtain items. Once you've obtained an item, you'll be able to go to the item screen, touching L, the left trigger, or the left shoulder button, or I guess touching the L logo on the screen will take you to the item screen. While on the item screen, you'll be able to investigate, hold and combine items that you've found. If you want to investigate an item you've found, touch the icon for that item in the item screen, and then touch search or the right shoulder button in the top right corner of the bottom screen. Alright, we've got ourselves a screwdriver in this nice little like 3D model viewer. That's kind of nice. Like, huh, I didn't need to do that, but they did. It's a normal screwdriver. Doesn't seem to be anything special about it. Touching an item while on the item screen will select that item. While an item is selected, touching back or left shoulder button will return you to the room investigation screen. to the room investigation screen. If you look down at the bottom left-hand corner of the bottom screen, you should see the icon. This shows that you are holding. I like how holding is in like an extra thick font. Holding the item. If you hold an item while investigating the room, you may trigger a reaction. Investigate suspicious areas with different items to see if anything happens. Pressing up on the control pad will select another item for you to hold. In here. There's a blue key. A key. Little blue key in the bottom of this pot. So we've got ourselves a blue key. Okay. Water just keeps pouring through the window. It's like a waterfall. I don't think shoving something into the window is going to stop the water. I don't want to die. I need to find a way out of this room. Sink. What's this? A picture frame. Can we search the picture frame? An old picture frame. There's a picture of a ship in it. There's screws keeping the back on. Ah, combine picture with screwdriver. The screwdriver got those screws off easily enough, and here's the picture. Aha! Look what we have here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Someone wrote a bunch of numbers and symbols on the back of the picture, huh? Alright, and notice that when we used the screwdriver, we lost the screwdriver, which honestly doesn't seem realistic. I don't think you would break a screwdriver just taking a picture frame apart, but okay. Must be a very poorly made picture frame. Combining items. If you take two items you've found and combine them, we've already done it. They may turn into something else. To do this, select an item on the item screen and touch cross on the top part of the bottom screen. Then select the second item and touch cross, combining. If they cannot be combined, nothing will happen. Gotcha. What's this? Aha, another clue. A set of symbols and an arrow pointing from left to right. The left half is red, the right half is blue. Okay. Ladder that goes from the floor to the ceiling that you can get to all three bunks. Feels like a board with a sheet on it. Aha! We have another one. And then, oh my god, could we just rotate this? Can we just rotate this normally, please? There we go. So we have both codes now. So you see, we've got the left half of the red code and the right half of the red code, and the left half of the blue code and the right half of the blue code. Nothing here. Okay, what's this? A red key, taped to the mirror. Cool, so we've got two keys, two codes, and a key to help us understand the code. Let me rotate this item. There we go. Easier to read that way. I like how the game saves the orientation of the items, because they realise that's important. Junpei grabbed the key and shoved it into his pocket. He intended to leave immediately, but something stopped him. His reflection stared back at him from the mirror, but he had scarcely recognised himself. What's up with my face? His confusion was well justified. His face was drawn and pale, and the dark circles under his eyes made him look as though he were nearly dead. Even as he said it, something in his mind opened, and a memory bobbed to the surface. It was the last thing Junpei remembered before waking up in the strange room. Okay, flashback sequence. Junpei shuffled up the stairs and opened the door to the apartment 201. I will say that the story of this game. So this game takes some inspiration from the Saw franchise. This is Saw by way of Japan. I guess is the easiest way to describe this story. Everything was as he'd left it. The magazines piled up in the corner, the textbooks collecting dust, the CD cases covering the floor, the jeans and t-shirt he'd worn the day before, then tossed onto the floor. There was one thing that didn't belong, however. There was a breeze. Breaths of cold night air wafted into his apartment, carrying the smells of autumn with them. The white curtain framing his window swayed gently in the wind. Junpei walked towards the window, trying to remember if he'd closed it or not before he left. One of the panes was hanging open. He stuck his head out and looked around. Nothing seemed out of the ordinary. Junpei shrugged. He must have left. He must have just left it open earlier. He closed the window. Then it happened. Junpei turned and found himself face to face with a man dressed all in black, face to mask, with a man dressed all in black. The man wore a deep hood and bulky gas mask, and his face was entirely hidden. Junpei tried to scream, but all he could manage was a strangled croak. He tried to step toward the man, but his legs could no longer support his weight. Junpei collapsed to the floor, a crumpled heap of limbs like a discarded puppet. Too late, he noticed the white smoke that was quickly filling his apartment. A small object, shaped distressingly like a grenade, sat on the floor in front of his face, hissing. The white smoke poured out of it at an incredible rate. The smoke had grown so thick that the details of Junpei's apartment began to fade into the white haze. He could feel his mind begin to fade as well. A white haze that was not the smoke creeping into the edges of his vision. We got jigsawed. A rasping voice wormed its way out of the gas mask. It was cold and harsh, and distorted in some way Junpei couldn't put his finger on. The Nonary game. It's a game where you put your life on the line. I guess technically, when did Saw come out? The first movie? 2004? 2005? I mean, if we want to be honest, it was the Saw movies that really popularized the idea of like an escape room. So I guess technically that belongs to Saw, but by 2009 when this game came out, escape rooms weren't really a huge thing yet. Like you maybe heard about one in passing. It's like a weird thing that somebody once encountered, but they weren't really a known thing. I want to say escape rooms didn't really start becoming popular until like after 2010. Maybe. I could be wrong. So I want to say this game still, at least in some small way, contributed to the popularity of escape rooms. But, you know, I guess technically that honour belongs to Saw. That son of a bitch must have taken me here. This game has swearing in it, man. It's like, huh. Indeed, he wasn't even sure that his assailant had been a man. The voice had been cold and mechanical, likely passed through a voice changer, and the body had been covered in a thick cloak. Who was the man in the mask? You have been chosen. Junpei remembered that much, but what it might mean, that was beyond him. Junpei had no idea where he was or why he was there. There was only one thing from his memory that seemed important. I appreciate how goddamn it is in italics. Okay. Alright, so nothing left on the mirror. Back away. Let's look at this blue briefcase. Okay, so if we equip the blue key, okay, mini games. This music, by the way, is unhinged. It's like drum and bass, I guess. During an escape, your investigation may trigger one of several minigames. All operations for the minigames are done by touching the bottom screen. Some minigames will require you to manipulate something, while others will only require you to apply the right object or touch the right thing. Touching the dial will cause it to move to the next number. Enter 4 numbers this way and then touch the key. If the numbers are correct, it will unlock. Okay. So we actually need... Yeah, I do. Let me access my inventory, please. Oh my god. This game can be sometimes very verbose in a way that's a bit annoying. So let's look at side ones. We got solid blue. Okay, got solid square, hollow upper left corner. So it's O2. Solid lower left corner, hollow upper right corner. O263. So it's O263. Oh my god, yes, I know. Touching the dial will cause to move the next number. Enter 4 numbers this way and then touch the key. Yes, okay, gotcha. 0263. File screw. Oh my god. This tutorial is a little bit... you couldn't have stretched these out a little bit? You're gonna dump all of the mechanics on me in the very first puzzle? Okay. Information on them will be available from the file screen. To open the file screen, touch R or file in the top right corner of the bottom screen. Once at the file screen, select files by touching them or by pressing any direction on the control pad. If you touch search, the contents of the file you selected will be displayed on the upper screen. Digital root. Compute a digital root with the following steps. First, add all the numbers in question to one another. If you end up with something greater than a single digit number, add the digits to one another. For instance, if you have a double digit number, add the number in the tens place to the number in the ones place. Keep adding digits in this manner until you have a single digit answer. That final single digit is your digital root. For example, the digital root of 6, 7, 8 would be, so add 6, 7 and 8 together. What would that be? Okay, 6 plus 7 is what? 13. 13 plus 8 would be 21. You can add the 21, the 2 and the 1 together, that makes a 3. Yeah, see? The digital root of 6, 7, 8 is 3. The digital root of 1, 2, 3, 4 would be 3, 6, 10, 1. Yeah. Therefore, the digital root of 1, 2, 3, 4 is 10. A notebook, a pen and a calculator, and a stack of keycards. Interesting. So we've got some keycards. New material has been added to the file screen. Calculator. It's a calculator. I know how to use a calculator. Press the Y button. This will open the calculator screen. To operate the calculator, touch the bottom screen. When using the calculator, the numbers on the top are your Oh my god, I know how to use a calculator. Just say it's a calculator. Okay, so this is basically where it keeps all the information from the tutorials. Cool. Look at that other. Okay, so red key. There it is. Yeah, I know. It's the same thing as before, buddy. Slow learner. Come on. Oh my god, you've done this. So I guess it does this every time you engage with a puzzle, I guess. That's a little... I forgot about that. That's a little annoying. Yeah, I know. We've done this before. Okay, so let's do this again. Upper left solid, lower right hollow. So that's 1, 4. Upper right solid, hollow square. One, 4, 8, 5. Please, before I forget it. 1, 4, 8, 5. No? Did I get it wrong? I think I got it wrong. Let's double check. Upper left solid, lower right hollow. 1985. 1985. Okay, yeah. Oh my god, you don't have to do this every time. This is a little bit annoying. I will give it this. 1. Wait. Then it goes up to 5. Then it goes up to 5. That's... Hang on. The second dial only goes up to 5. game's trying to give me hints now because it thinks I don't know how to solve the puzzle. I know how to solve the puzzle. Let me just... I swear. That's not a 1, that's a 7. I'm a dipshit. That's not a 1, that's a 7. I'm so sorry. The 7 looks a bit like a 1, and my brain didn't comprehend the fact that these numbers are in order, going from 1 to 0. Or 1 to 9, then 0. I'm sorry. I'm a dipshit. Yeah, that's a 7. 7. 7, 4. 7. God damn it, I wasn't done. 7, 4. 7, 4, 8. 7, 4, 8, 5. There we go. I'm so sorry. 7, 4, 8, 5. Oh my god, I know. 7, 4, 8, 5. 7, 4, 8, 5. Boom. That was more painful than it needed to be. I'm sorry about that. A stack of red key cards. Okay. Huh. Right, now we've got these key cards. Let's go over to that thing by the door. These cards with numbers on them. I'm pretty sure this is where I'm supposed to use them. Blue cards. The file said something about a digital route. A digital route? The digital route, huh? What am I supposed to do with... There's a 5 on that door. I have to get a digital route of 5? But that's just 5. Slide the cards that give me the digital route of 5 through the reader. Operating instructions. Touch 3 cards to select them. The digital route of the selected cards will be displayed on the top screen. Touching reset will deselect all currently selected cards. After you've selected 3 cards, touch the device. Oh boy. Okay. So I'm guessing... No, because... No. Nope. God damn it. Okay, I've got to think about this now. I actually don't remember the solution to this. Okay. So 3 plus 8 is 11. And then 1... 2. No, that just creates 4. Okay. Okay, this is clever. I like this. 6, obviously. 6 plus 7 is 4. 1. There we go. 6, 7, 1. I suspect there are multiple solutions to this puzzle, but... There we go. Gets a new noise. This game's cool as hell, but it's a little bit long-winded sometimes. You kind of just want it to speed the fuck up so you can move on. Let's get out of here. I mean, you should say you escaped or something rather than you found it, but okay. Accompanied by a wall of angry water, Junpei shot out of the room and into the opposing wall. Gasping to catch his breath, he looked around. He was in a narrow hallway. The water that had followed him out of the room was rapidly pouring out of the door. It flowed quickly down the hallway and slammed into the foot of a short flight of stairs. Just 5 steps, in fact. And at the top of this short staircase, a door. Another door. Junpei leapt up the stairs, straight for the door. The door burst open and Junpei exploded out of it, only to freeze in his tracks. What other possible response could there have been to what he saw? His voice trailed off and all he could do was stare. Polished floor stretched out before him, ornate staircases rising up from the edges, each one of them equidistant from the others. The stairs and pillars were solid wood, and Art Nouveau embellishments and decorations covered the walls and pillars. It looked like nothing so much as the entrance to a luxurious mansion from the early 1900s. Junpei couldn't help but wonder, was he really in a ship? It's the Titanic. It's obvious. We've seen enough media over the decades about the Titanic to immediately know this is the Titanic, or a ship made to look exactly like the Titanic. He has looked. As he looked, a fresh wave rolled out of the room he'd been in, gathering speed as it moved towards the stairs. Shit! I've got to get out of here. That's right, they say shit in this Nintendo DS game. Junpei spun around, his wet shoes squeaking in protest on the polished floor, and ran towards the tremendous staircase in front of him. He took the stairs 2 at a time, not entirely sure where he would find himself, just as he began to wonder where in fact the stairs did lead. Junpei saw another person out the corner of his eye. He stopped short, nearly tripping over the next stair, and looked. It wasn't just one person he'd seen. On the landing on the left of the stairs, there were 4 people staring at him. And on the right side, 3 more. All told, there were 7 of them. It looked as though they had been on their way down the stairs. They'd stopped short when they saw Junpei. They stopped short when they saw Junpei, their eyes wide. He'd done the same, of course, and now they stood there staring at one another. Junpei didn't move. One foot placed awkwardly on the next step in the middle of a stride. Who were these people? This entire interaction lasted only a matter of seconds. The woman spoke to Junpei, and time began to move again. Very questionably dressed lady. The woman was dressed, Junpei thought, rather like a dancer. I would have said stripper, but okay. Her clothes covered very little, and her prestigious jewellery little more. A little bit of animation there. Oh my god, kid. So, if you hadn't got the sense yet from the flashback of his apartment, this Junpei is kind of a pathetic loser. The first to pass Junpei was a young man with silver hair. Following him was an older man, his face calm and without fear. The next to speak was a girl with pink hair and a high voice. Why is pink hair in brackets? Which I'm going to assume are brackets based on this font. His eyes were closed, almost as though he were sleeping. His features were graceful, almost serene, and he was dressed rather elegantly for someone his age. What does all of the cards are in hand mean, he wondered. Junpei opened his mouth to ask what the other man had meant, but the girl with pink hair rushed past him and they were gone. He turned just in time to see two more people running toward him. One of them had hair like a bird's nest and looked as tough as a stiff breeze, looked as though a stiff breeze might topple him. And the other was a veritable mountain of a man. Again, why is mountain in brackets? Like, what? The scrawny one said nothing and scuttled past Junpei as though he were running from something. Before he had the chance to respond, the man laid a massive hand on Junpei's shoulder. With no more effort than Junpei would have used to brush aside a fly, the man shoved him out of the way. Thrown off balance by the man and recent events, it took Junpei a few steps to get his bearings. He finally regained his balance and looked up at what the other 7 had been running towards. There were 2 pairs of large iron doors set into the wall in front of him. They looked quite sturdy, and each had handles jutting from them. Written across the surface of each door in red paint was a number. The door on the right had a 4, and the door on the left had a 5. They're the same. The guy Junpei had decided to call Silver was mumbling to himself. With an arched eyebrow, the lion looked over at Silver. I like how we're just making up, like, internal nicknames for these people. It soon became clear that each one of them had awoken in a room with a locked door and solved a puzzle to escape. They'd all ended up in the same room, almost as though they'd been guided there. Before the dancer had time to finish, Silver was already running. He grabbed hold of the door labelled 5 and pulled. However, I just... Oh, man. Yeah, they say fuck in this Nintendo DS game. This game's cool. I honestly had forgotten how, like... How severe the language in this game was. It's funny. The mountain grabbed Silver's shoulder and tossed him aside. His path cleared, he took a few steps back and then threw himself at the door. Once. Twice. 3 times a lady. 4 times. The door shook as his body slammed into it, but showed no signs of breaking or opening. The mountain threw himself at the door again. Junpei turned toward door number 4. Next to the door on the wall was a small box. It looked just like the one that he'd seen in his room next to that door. If it was the same, then this door was likely locked as well. Still, he had to check. Junpei grabbed a handle and threw all of his weight onto it. It was locked as tight as the door next to it, as he'd suspected. Were these the only doors, he wondered? He'd barely finished. The thought when the C-deck plate he'd passed on his way up sprang unbidden to his mind. His body moved before he had time to think. Junpei turned and ran back towards the stairs. He had scarcely taken a step when, at the top of the stairs next to an ornate clock embedded in the wall, he saw a person. It was a girl. She looked to be the same age as Junpei. He froze, unable to look away from her face. Jesus, kid, grow up. He wasn't confounded by her beauty or something equally silly. No, there was another reason he couldn't take his eyes off the girl. Junpei had seen her somewhere before. Couldn't quite remember where, but he knew he'd met her before. The girl, too, stared at Junpei, similarly stunned. Her response suggested she'd seen him before as well. Yeah, so this game's a bit more... shall I just say creepy? A bit more creepy than Phoenix Wright, in a bad way. This game has like a really interesting concept and story to it, but some of the incidental writing is a little bit cringe. At least by modern standards. Boy, I'd like to get to another escape room about now. Oh my god, kid. Yeah. I think, your priorities, guys. Fucking priorities. You are kidnapped on an unknown ship. You've just, escaped with your life from a room, and now, you seem to forget your current predicament, If you want to have, heartfelt reunion, maybe do that after you fucking escaped. You know what I mean? With the Voices invasion, the spell between Junpei and I guess it's Akane. Akane was broken, and all hints of burgeoning romance instantly forgotten. Thank God. I remember thinking roughly the same thing at the time. I remember thinking that was kind of okay, this is kind of dumb. I wish they would just hurry up and get to the next puzzle. Like I said, this game's got a cool story, but it does tend to fucking just go on sometimes. And there is no fast forward function, at least not yet. 7 companions had heard the voices as well, and many of their faces had gone pale. They looked around frantically, desperate to locate the source of the voice. At last they found it, a speaker set in the ceiling. I am Zero. Why is Zero again in brackets? Like what? I am Zero, the captain of this ship. I am also the person who invited you here. The voice was harsh, obscured occasionally by the crackle of static. But Junpei recognised it. How could he have forgotten it? So, that's right. There's a menu. It's safe. So let's take a moment here to just take a break. This game had 2 sequels. One that came out on the 3DS a couple years later. I want to say it was quite an early 3DS game. Let me just look it up. Hang on. Relatively early, 2012. So the sequel, Virtue's Last Reward, came out 3 years after. Yeah. So 999 was 2009. Virtue's Last Reward is 2012 for 3DS, which I also have a copy of here. Virtue's Last Reward is not as good. I think the core story to Virtue's Last Reward is still pretty strong, but I want to say a lot of the interest comes straight from like just the what's the word? The novelty of the game. The fact that Virtue's Last Reward has a very similar plot, just involving different characters, kind of knocks a few points off the story for people who played the first game. Weirdly enough, Virtue's Last Reward did get a European release, as you can tell by the PEGI age rating on the side. So yeah, we got Zero Escape 2, but not Zero Escape 1. Like I said, we wouldn't get Zero Escape 1 until I think the Steam release in like 2017. So yeah, it's kind of weird. We got these games out of order. There was a third game in this franchise, so it's 999, Virtue's Last Reward, and then fucking like 4 or 5 years later, like 2016, 2017, the third game came out. And from what I haven't played the third game, and from what I have been told, and from what I've heard, apparently the third game, kind of a disaster. Again, I haven't played it myself, so I don't really have an opinion. But people tell me that, you know, third game, big disappointment. So apparently, to this day, the first game in the trilogy is apparently still the best one. So, sad case of a franchise that started extremely strong but just could not maintain its level of quality. Sad. It's sad. It was the same voice he had heard from the man in the gas mask. Again with the swearing. Man, we've heard someone say son of a bitch. We've heard someone say shit, fuck, now asshole. Like it's got all the words, this game. Silver reached into his pocket and pulled out a small slip of paper. The rest of them reached into their own pockets and pulled out similar slips of paper. Junpei followed suit and dug into the pocket of his pants. He felt the telltale crumple of paper, slightly damp from his earlier ordeal. His request had been delivered to Junpei, who, after a short moment of surprise, did as he'd been asked. Because he was polite, man. A little bit of politeness gets you a long way. The key to opening these numbered doors are the numbered bracelets that each of you possess. Should you total the numbers on your numbered bracelets and find that the digital root of that number is equal to the number of that door, the door will open. Only those who have opened the door may pass through. How are you going to control that exactly? Are you just going to rely on honor here? Because that doesn't seem like a terribly effective plan. Only 3 to 5 people can pass through one numbered door. Again, how are you going to control that? All those who enter must leave, and all who enter must contribute. Junpei figured... Bracelet, Junpei figured, had to mean the bulky thing on his wrist. He glanced around. It looked like everyone else had one as well, and had come to as much the same conclusion. Seek a door that carries a 9. Junpei had reached the end of the letter. There was a long moment of silence, and then the speaker cackled to life once more. Here we go, the Titanic. After remaining afloat for 2 hours and 40 minutes, it sank beneath the waters of the North Atlantic. I will give you more time. 9 hours. I did say this game had an obsession with the number 9. That is the time you will be given to make your escape. The voice finished and the speaker went silent. The sound of a bell tolling echoed through the hall. It came from the dance hall and adjacent to the stairwell. It took those assembled on the stairs mere moments to trace the sound to an antique clock embedded in the wall. Seven, 8, 9. The sound of the 9th bell faded away. The 10th never came. That meant the time was 9 o'clock. Most likely 9 o'clock in the evening. When Junpei had peered out the window of his cell, he'd seen nothing but blackness. It had to be night time. If that was the case, then they would need to escape by 6 a.m. the following day. The speaker went silent and did not speak again. Silver yelled at the speaker with language coarse enough to embarrass a sailor, but the rest of Junpei's companions were silent, deep in thought. Junpei, too, was consumed by his thoughts. There was a great deal he didn't understand. Who was Zero? What was the Nonary game? Why had he chosen to make them part of it? Was he a criminal who took delight in playing with his victims, or did he have some other purpose? And why had Junpei been chosen as part of this insane game? Why had any of them been chosen? But one question was foremost on his mind. Akane. They hadn't seen one another since elementary school. Why had she appeared now? Coincidence? No, that seems impossible. There had to be a reason. He didn't know what it might be, but there had to be a reason. Oh, there's a reason. The lion's voice seemed oddly loud in the silence. The lion shook his head, mildly annoyed. Their separate investigations finished, all 9 people returned to where they'd left one another. The result of all their work was nothing. They were completely sealed in. Their hard work had not gone completely to waste, however. They had learned a number of things as they'd scoured the parts of the ship they could reach. It seems that they were confined to decks A through C. C deck was as far down as they could be able to go. However, the reason being that D deck was completely submerged. Strangely, however, the water had risen no higher than D deck. The flow seemed to have been stopped somehow, as evidenced by the surface of the water on D deck, which was as smooth as glass. The prince knelt down and gently drew his hand across it. There were 3 metal doors on C deck. A single door stood off to the side, with 2 more on the wall facing the central staircase. None of them had numbers or verification devices. They were, however, locked like the other doors. No matter how much they pushed and shoved, the doors refused to move. The mountain and the lion threw themselves against them a few times, but to no avail. The door in the back had a keyhole. Just above it was a strange mark in the shape of a circle surrounding a dot. There were 2 other doors on C deck as well, but it was clear they were elevators, as each had a button next to it with an upside-down triangle. They tried pushing the button. No response. Apparently there was no power running to the elevators. To the left of the elevator doors was a card reader. The card reader also had a strange mark on it. It looked like a lowercase h with a dash drawn across the upper stem of the H. Junpei stared at it for a while. It's the symbol of Saturn. It's an astrological symbol. They had seen the same symbols on A deck. There was a door on either side of the stairs. One on the left had a keyhole with a similar symbol engraved on it. Junpei looked up at the ceiling. There was a great circle cut in it, perhaps for a skylight or a glass dome, but it had been filled with a gargantuan metal plate. The metal looked very solid. Anything short of an explosive charge was unlikely to damage it. There were several windows along both sides of the ship, or at least there had been. They too were covered with metal plates. In other words, we're trapped. All of the exits go nowhere. Junpei was not happy. The girl with the pink hair spoke up. Then the mountain spoke. The prince did not agree. All eyes turned towards the doors with numbers on them. The atmosphere in the room grew tense. The dancer moved in front of the doors as if to block them. Suddenly, everyone began to speak at once. I agree. I don't. That's terrible. We should keep going. We should stay here. We don't have any other way to open any of these doors. We should just wait. Someone's bound to come find us. We don't have time for that. In 8.5 hours, this ship's going to sink. The clamour of voices made it next to impossible to determine who was saying what. Their arguments grew more and more intense until people were shouting and screaming at one another. Junpei had remained silent, but at last he could take no more. They fell silent and all eyes turned to Junpei. He felt each stare burning into him, but he refused to flinch. We need to exchange information. We don't know anything about each other. We won't play this for much longer. I had hoped we'd get a little bit further into the story, but goddamn, this whole introductory sequence just keeps going and going and going. Maybe not a good time for the pet names. Girl whose fashion sense makes her look like she just came out of a fucking laundry basket or something. Like, what is she even wearing? Code names. Why are you 7? Seemed a fair question. The mountain stuck out his left arm. 'Cause this bracelet says number 7. He smirked. Santa. Does it? Really? Okay. Silver thrust out his left hand. Sure enough, the face of his bracelet read 3. Bracelet number is 1. I think Ace seems appropriate. These people choosing their own nicknames is pretty, I don't know. I liked Lion. Lion was a better nickname than Ace. Snake. Since Ace has chosen cards, then I choose dice. Snake eyes. Clearly, which is particularly relevant, given that I am blind. Blind? Really? I mean, it's kind of obvious. The dude's walking around with his eyes closed. Come on. Yeah, he'd kept his eyes closed during their entire ordeal, which had suggested something strange, but to hear it said so casually, it was something of a surprise. Everyone seemed a little nervous at the prince's proclamation, but no one seemed to know how to react to it. There was one person, however, who didn't seem to be surprised in the least. The girl with pink hair. 4-leaf clover. Okay, gotcha. Your one's 4. Gotcha. Looking almost bored, she held out her left hand. The face of her bracelet showed the number 4. They'd come around to Junpei. He held out his bracelet. my codename's going to be? Why have one? It's not like there's any point to it now. Oh, that's true, right? They already know his name. Poor Junpei doesn't get to have a cool nickname. If we already know your name already. You're Junpei. Oh. Doesn't seem fair to Jumpy. You're thinking it's not cool for you to hide your name after you told us his. Akane fidgeted awkwardly. Junpei decided he had to do something. She hesitated for a moment, then held out her left hand. As she claimed, the bracelet's face showed a 6. Junpei looked at it for a moment and thought. June? Yeah, the 6th month. It's the 6th month of the year. You're June. Akane kneaded her hands and looked up at Junpei, uncertain. He smiled back at her reassuringly. She thought about it for a few more minutes. Minutes? Jesus Christ, every second counts, then seemed to come to a decision. A few more minutes? Like the idea, like, minutes, plural, so the very minimum, she stood there thinking about it for at least 2 minutes. Could you imagine them all standing there, like, waiting for her response for 2 minutes while the clock is ticking? I feel like that should have said a few more seconds. One was Ace, 2 was Snake, 3 was Santa, 4 was Clover, 5 was Junpei's number. Akane was 6 and Junpei had given her the code name of June. 7 was 7. He didn't bother. And 8 was Lotus. I like the fact that the big guy is just like, fuck code names. Fuck you, I'm 7. It meant that 8 of them, including Junpei, had revealed their bracelet numbers. But there was still one person left. There was the man with glasses and hair like a bird's nest. He hadn't said anything since they'd met on the stairs, and he didn't look like the sort of person who was inclined to conversation. His skin was pale, his breathing was heavy, and he was soaked with nervous sweat. His behaviour seemed very suspicious, or perhaps simply emotionally unstable. It was difficult to tell. Whatever the case, it seemed clear that he had only a fingertip's worth of a grip on his sanity. The girl with pink hair walked up to him slowly. She put her hands on her hips and eyed him suspiciously. Didn't answer. Well, I mean, it's obvious. His bloodshot eyes twitched from person to person, and his breath came in hot pants. He's number 2, isn't he? Come on. No, wait, no, that's Snake. Snake is number 2. I guess he's number 4, then? Yeah, I think he's number 4. Isn't it obvious? There are 9 people here. Oh, no, he's 9. Okay, no. Who was 4, then? I fucking forget already what the numbers were. Yeah, 9. Bracelet did indeed say 9. Clover looked at it contemptuously. What's your code name? He took a shuddering breath and exhaled. Clover looked at him with something very like disgust. By the time they realised what he was doing, it was too late to stop him. The man's body moved like a snake's. In the blink of an eye, he had slid around behind her and wrapped his arm around her waist. Silver leapt forward, toward Clover and the ninth man. He was halfway there when... Suddenly, the man's hand dove into his pocket. Came back out with a knife. A pocket knife. He held it to Clover's pale, quivering neck. Santa skidded to a halt. He snarled at the scrawny man with the knife and gritted his teeth. The man's smile was neither friendly nor reassuring. Sweat poured down his neck, soaking the collar of his shirt. Snake's voice sounded oddly concerned. Her voice shook, making her words even less convincing. He started to move backward, slowly, keeping his grip on Clover. Keeping their distance, Junpei and the others followed. Eventually the man reached the wall. He gave a start as his back touched it, then glanced around quickly and spoke. The man's nostrils flared and he looked like he was about to choke. Man, the word count for this script must be fucking insane. There's like... The sheer amount of text in this game is immense. Hang on a sec, let me check something here. How big is this ROM? Because we're talking about a game with hundreds and hundreds of like pieces of background art, character art, sprite animations, FMV sequences, and then a gigantic script. I've got to know how big this ROM size is. Oh, it's only... Okay, so it is only 128 megabyte ROM, so it fits onto the same... It fits onto like a medium-sized DS cartridge. Which is, you know, okay, surprising. I mean, text takes up basically no space, so that doesn't surprise me too much. And all of the audio has been MIDI music, so like I guarantee like all of this music you're hearing is just running directly off the sound chip in the DS. It's probably not pre-recorded, with the exception of maybe a few samples. Slowly he stretched her left hand out towards the device. Her back was to it, and she had to feel around for a moment before she found the circular panel. It made a cold electronic noise, and on the display above her hand, an asterisk appeared. So that's how it works, Junpei thought to himself. By placing one's palm on what the ninth man had called the scanner panel, the user's bracelet number would be entered into the device. Junpei shifted his eyes to the door itself. The number on it was 5. So yeah, 9 plus 4 is 13. 1 plus 3 is 4, so that wouldn't work, surely. The ninth man seemed to know a little more about the device's operation than he should. How had he known exactly what to do? He helped Zero build it, obviously. Duh. And now Zero doubled cross him by including him in the game. His bloodshot eyes crept from person to person until finally they stopped on the lion Ace. Oh, I see. He's not going to use his own bracelet. And you're next. Just verify your number like this little brat did. Ace held up his hands, palms out. The ninth man jerked his chin towards the device. Slowly, cautiously, Ace moved towards the device. After what seemed like an agonizing eternity, he reached it. Ace nodded and placed his hand on the scanner panel. The device beeped again and a second asterisk appeared. Now the device had Clover and Ace's numbers, 4 and 1. 4 plus 1 equals 5. The same as the number written on the door. But it wouldn't open just yet. The door needed at least one more person. Who would that be? Ace took 3. So Ace took 2, then 3 steps back. Slowly, Ace did what he was told. That was when Junpei understood his plan. Clover's 4 and Ace's 1, and added to the ninth man's 9. 4 plus 1 plus 9 equals 14, then 1 plus 4 equals 5. In other words, he pressed his own hand against the scanner panel. A third asterisk appeared on the screen. He dropped his hand to the lever on the side of the device and pulled. The door opened with a heavy metallic groan. He let go of Clover. Junpei leapt towards the ninth man, but he wasn't fast enough. The man shoved Clover and hopped through the door. He raised his hand and waved a twisted smirk on his face. Then he was gone. The door ground shut with a dull clang of metal on metal. You know what? I'm going to let this reach... We're almost at 3 hours. I'll let the video reach 3 hours and then we're going to cut, regardless of where we are, because goddamn, we are still in the intro. Several pairs of hands grabbed hold of the handles unpulled. They grunted and strained, but... Shit. That was when the dancer spoke. Her voice was quiet. Then they heard something else. It was the ninth man. Lied? His voice shook with fear. Safe on the outside, they stepped back from the door and looked at one another. Junpei grabbed hold of the device. He slammed his hand on the scanner panel. Nothing happened. Why didn't it register him? He looked at the display where the asterisk had shown up. It said, engaged. He can only open the door once. It was him. He killed me. It was him. There's a bomb in the bracelet. The explosion rocked the room. Instinctively, they ducked, then stood up slowly when they realized there was no danger. No one spoke. Silence filled the room. In that silence, the electronic tone that echoed across the room sounded as loud as a gunshot. All eyes turned towards it. It had come from the device mounted next to the door. The display changed from engaged to vacant. The mountain swallowed hard. Junpei nodded and placed his hand on the scanner panel. A red asterisk appeared on the LCD panel. The device had registered Junpei's bracelet number. His was not enough, however. At least 2 more people were needed. Junpei asked, "Which pair?" Okay, let's do the... Okay, finally the game starts. Holy shit. Oh my god. So not including the tutorial escape room, this is the actual start of gameplay. Jesus Christ. Thank God this game lets you save whenever, so you can like... Oh my god. Jesus Christ. Oh boy, just in time for the end of the video, eh? So let's just quickly do this, then we'll... No, tell you what, no. I will leave it to you, the viewer, to decide in your own mind who would be a good pair for this door. And, oh my god, so, yeah, let's end the video here. It's 3 fucking hours, it's gone on way too long. I'm trying to aim for 2-hour videos here, and this game just kept going. God damn. Anyway, this is 9 hours, 9 persons, 9 doors. It is an incredible game. It has a really good story. And it is, I think it still holds up. I think you grab hold of the Steam version. I believe the Steam version comes as part of the part of a pack. I don't think you can buy it separately. At least I don't think so. I think you have to buy all 3 games as one pack. I think it's Zero Escape. Just type in Zero Escape into the Steam search bar, or it might be available on consoles as well, for all I know. Yes, it says PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. So you can grab either a PS4 copy or an Xbox One copy and play that on your console of choice, because both the current PlayStation and Xbox are backwards compatible, so you can play it on those if you do not really have a Steam account or do not want to play it on a PC for some reason. Shame there's no Switch version, because there's nothing particularly like... I mean, even the newest one, Zero Time Dilemma, is not exactly a like modern looking game. Like, it looks like an Xbox 360 game, to be charitable. So that would run, like, even if all 3 games would run just fine on a Switch. I wonder why they never put these out for the Switch. That's a shame, because it would be cool to play these handheld again. Anyway, this game's cool. It does not get into my top 10 list because while I do think the story is really cool and the concept is really cool, this game has just enough weird problems with it, like the intense verboseness of the cutscenes. Like, it took us over an hour to get through the opening tutorial and cutscene. Like, that's kind of fucked up. Even if you like story in games like I do, it takes way too long for the game to get going, and there are several cutscenes in this game that are like that just keep going and going and going and going, and it's just, ugh. Second, not a fan of the romance subplot in this game. I think the entire romance subplot in 999 is kind of forgettable and really cliche. I mean, well, mostly cliche. There is a thing near the end of the game that is revealed, but, I'll keep that a secret for people who want to play. But yeah, this is a cool game. It's not on my top 10, but it's a cool fucking game. So that is it for me this time. Next time we will be playing, what am I looking at? Next time is, it will be another game for the top 10, and a game that is not on the top 10, but still really interesting. So, whoops. That's all from me for now. I'll see you next time for 2 more classic Nintendo DS games. Thank you for watching. My name is The Real Blue Dragon, and I shall see you hopefully next time. Goodbye.